Good evening, and thank you for joining me for this discussion. The divide has never been starker, has it? On one side of the Atlantic, we have the dignified silence of Norfolk, where a single, understated black and white photograph has managed to speak volumes about stability and endurance. On the other, we have the chaotic, frenetic energy of a couple supposedly in love, yet spending the most romantic day of the year 3,000 miles apart. Yes, I am talking about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who have once again managed to turn a simple calendar date into a global headline about the state of their union. While Prince Harry was left shivering in the Canadian cold, wrapping up the final days of his first Winter Invictus Games in Vancouver, Meghan was reportedly already back in the warmth of Montecito, having jetted home to be with the children, or so we are told. It is a curious optic, is it not? For a couple who have built their entire brand on their inseparable nature, the salt and pepper, as Meghan once so famously put it, claiming they always move together, this Valentine's Day separation feels rather significant. One cannot help but wonder what the conversations were behind closed doors that led to this arrangement. A well-placed source within the inner circle has suggested that the logistics were debated until the very last minute, with the Duchess ultimately deciding that her presence at the closing ceremony was not strictly necessary. One might ask, if your husband is spearheading the most important project of his post-royal career, the one thing that still gives him a shred of credibility on the world stage, is your support not strictly necessary? Or perhaps the allure of a private jet back to the sanctuary of California was simply too strong to resist. Predictably, this physical separation has sent the rumor mill into overdrive. The tabloids are already whispering about a cooling of affections, a narrative that the Sussex PR machine seems desperate to squash before it takes root. And how do they handle this? In the most Hollywood way imaginable. While Harry was undertaking his duties in Vancouver, looking, I must say, rather isolated despite the crowds, Meghan took to social media, not with a current photo, mind you, not with a FaceTime screenshot or a candid image of flowers sent to the hotel room. No, she posted a touching archival photo of the two of them kissing, presumably from better, or at least more photogenic, days. The caption was the usual word salad we have come to expect, something about missing her forever Valentine. It feels, quite frankly, like damage control. It is the digital equivalent of shouting, "We are fine," a little too loudly in a crowded room. When you have to reach into the archives to prove your romance on Valentine's Day because you are not actually together to document it, it raises eyebrows. A source behind closed doors has intimated that there is a growing frustration in the Sussex camp regarding these persistent rumors of a rift. They feel unfairly targeted. Yet, one has to ask, who creates the target? If you brand yourself as the world's greatest love story, you cannot be surprised when people notice the chapters where the protagonists are in different time zones. The cynicism regarding this post is palpable, and not just from the usual critics. Even their supporters seem a bit baffled by the strategy. It screams of performative affection, a clapback to the haters rather than a genuine expression of love. It is a commercial for their marriage rather than the marriage itself. Now let us contrast this with the masterclass in public relations, or perhaps just genuine human behavior, coming from Kensington Palace. The Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine, released their own Valentine's Day acknowledgement. There was no gushing caption, no archival dredging, no dramatic declaration of forever. Instead, We were treated to a beautiful, understated photograph taken during a walk in Norfolk. The image, reportedly captured by Josh Shinner, exudes what the fashion press likes to call quiet luxury, but what I simply call dignity. They are dressed casually, appropriate for the English countryside, looking relaxed, looking stable. The reaction on social media has been instantaneous and telling. While the Sussex Post has generated a war in the comments section, fans defending them, critics analyzing the body language of a photo taken years ago, the Wales's Post has been met with a near universal sigh of relief. It projects a sense of calm. After the crisis year the monarchy has endured, with the king's health battles and the princess's own recovery, this photo serves as a subtle but powerful message. We are here. We are together. We are standing tall. It is a symbol of the monarchy's resilience. They do not need to tell us they are happy. They simply show us they are content. There is a lesson here that seems to be perpetually lost on the residents of Montecito. Silence is often more powerful than noise. A current, imperfect photo of reality is better than a perfect, curated photo from the past. The contrast between the two couples has never been more evident. On one hand, you have the Hollywood dramatism, the need to curate, to direct, to control the narrative with high-gloss imagery and emotive captions. On the other, you have the confidence of the crown, the understanding that duty and stability are the ultimate currency. And let us discuss the children excuse for a moment. We are told Meghan rushed back to California to be with Archie and Lilibet. A noble sentiment, of course. Any mother wants to be with her children. But one wonders why the schedule could not have been arranged to allow the family to be together in Vancouver, or for the Duchess to stay just 24 hours longer. It feeds into the narrative that Meghan is increasingly disinterested in the UK-adjacent aspects of Harry's life, even when they are transpiring in Canada. A well-meaning staff member has hinted that the Duchess finds these sporting events taxing and prefers to curate her appearances where she has total control rather than standing on the sidelines in the snow. Meanwhile, Harry is left to carry the Invictus torch alone. One looks at the footage of him in Vancouver and sees a man who is undoubtedly in his element with the veterans. It is the one area where he truly shines, but who looks increasingly adrift in his personal capacity. The separation on Valentine's Day, regardless of the practical reasons, is a symbolic blow. It allows the rift narrative to fester, and no amount of archival kissing photos can truly patch that crack. The irony, of course, is that the Sussexes desperately want to be seen as the modern, relatable, heart-on-sleeve alternative to the stiff upper lip of the royal family. Yet in trying so hard to prove it, they often come across as artificial. The Waleses, bound by protocol and tradition, somehow manage to appear more authentic, more human, and more in love in a single, quiet, black-and-white frame than the Sussexes did with all their orchestrated Instagram fanfare. As we move past this Valentine's Day, the question remains, how long can this brand sustain itself on past glories? You cannot live on archive photos forever. At some point, you have to show up together in the here and now. It is a fascinating state of affairs, and one that I suspect will not change anytime soon. But for now, the victory, if one can call it that in the game of royal optics, goes firmly to the couple in Norfolk. They have mastered the art of saying everything by saying nothing at all. And that, my friends, is the true power of royalty.